Hello and welcome to New Forest Morphs. We've got Apollo who's having some exploration here at the moment. I'm just supervising him carefully. As you can see, I've got my hand on him and he's carefully balancing. He wants to see the ladies. I thought we'd start the video with a snake because it's back onto the advent calendar, my candy Christmas boxes. I've got plenty to show today. Thank you so much everyone for enjoying the last video, and Apollo just really wants to come and play. Just look how funny he is. He's just exploring all the girls at the moment. So I think what we'll do is we'll put him around my neck so that when we video, I'm just going to put this on the box. Just bear with me a second. There we go. Use two hands to help him, but I think he wants to come out and explore. So Apollo, you've got some time with me today. So we'll just carefully... He's anchored himself so powerfully on the rub. I've got to gently slip him off that secure anchor so he can come with me. But there he is. Isn't he beautiful? Such a lovely animal. So beautiful. So he's going to come and join me and he can play with me today as we talk about some of the snakes and things that are happening here. So thank you everyone for your support yesterday. Perhaps we'll have a little chat before I show you the snakes, tell you what's going on. Just going to open up the side of the camera so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, hopefully I'm in focus. Hair's looking nice for Christmas, hopefully. Everyone's having a good lead up to Christmas. It is all happening here, isn't it? Everything's going on, and the good news is Jad was feeling a lot better today. Thank you everybody for your love. In particular, I want to say thank you to Hamlin, who sent me a lovely personal message today and wished us well for Christmas. So thank you, Hamlin, for your personal message on WhatsApp. And also I wanted to thank Ben at BG Pythons, who's just put out a really good video. And I apologise I didn't get to it yesterday, Ben. I normally watch your videos straight away, but Jared just sent me a message saying thank you for your message on Instagram as well. And by the way, I did enjoy your tips on humidity yesterday on the green tree python video. Ben's a lovely guy. Very, very conscientious about how he keeps his snakes. Always looking to experiment and push the boundaries to further technology, which I like. And as he said, challenging traditional theories is part of the future developments. And sometimes, you know, it doesn't always sit comfortably with everyone, but we've got to challenge some of the things we're being taught and told so that we can gain our own testimony for ourselves as to what's best for our snakes and for us, according to our local conditions and our collections. So thank you, Ben, and thank you for extending your love to Jared and his family. And the good news is I think Emily, my daughter, who also had COVID-19, spoke to her yesterday. We had such a giggle. She's in such a good place, even though I know she's been suffering with COVID. She's just really just looking forward to my two other sons joining us later as soon as everything's clear. And Jared was a lot more upbeat today. I think we're getting close now to closing down the other business for Christmas, and I think we've worked our socks off. We've been doing 16-hour days for the last, well, I have anyway. Jared hasn't, because with COVID-19 he's been supporting me and powered through his illness to help me meet all these filing deadlines that we're under so much pressure to get in by the end of the year. But we are almost there. I think there's only one or two now to complete, and when they're done I'm going to be in a much happier space. I can relax and enjoy the snakes, enjoy the family, and just really enjoy this Christmas, because I think we've all been through quite a lot this year. Let's say that's an understatement of the year, but I want to wish everyone a really lovely Christmas. Going to show you some snake candy. I want to talk about the discussion point. What I was thinking about with all this COVID going around, and also bearing in mind Ben was talking about how he gets humidity up in his ball python and his green tree python rubs and setups. He came up with this really good idea actually, which I'm going to have to talk to Jad about, which is there's these puppy, I can't remember what they're called, but they're like, you know when you get puppy dogs and you want to put them down with a little base for them to sit on, if they wee, it all absorbs everything. Well, I think he's using something like that at the base of his vivarium for his green tree python, and he just pours I think he pours warm water. He puts a tub of water in his setup, so it's obviously the right ambient temperature, and then he just tops up the floor rather than using kitchen roll. We get through stacks of kitchen roll. Honestly, we just get through so much because we clean every day. We just get through, and I've been double layering my I've been putting 4 layers of tissue really strong, thick, which is already triple layered before it goes. So they're getting 12 layers of tissue, my snakes. They get full absorbency, but it's costing me a fortune, and I'm just wondering whether Ben's idea might be a really clever idea that I might just experiment with. It might cost me, maybe even cost me less, but it might actually work more effectively. So that's worth a good little tip. But if you're thinking about setting up a green tree python, Ben's your man. He's got a really lovely setup, and he's got some gorgeous, gorgeous snakes. And he treated himself to a Christmas present this year, which I mean, I think Jared and I would love to. If Ben does decide to breed, I think we'd probably buy one from Ben, because I just like his ethics. I just like him as a person, and we do want one day, Ben. So if you do get a clutch, put us on your little shortlist, and we'd be more than happy to buy one off you, because they're stunning animals, and you can guide us on how to keep them. Which this is part of the hobby and part of the friendship that we build. So thank you, Ben. We appreciate your love, and we wish you a very happy Christmas and all your subscribers. Please, guys, if you haven't jumped onto Ben's channel, go and give him some love. You won't regret it. He's just got an amazing setup, and he's putting out quite regular content as well. So you'll be really fed good quality information, and also he does his research, and he's got a very fine balance between his husbandry, his enrichment, and just spending time with those snakes. So I do like his channel very much. So what we're going to talk about today, which leads on from humidity and everything else, and COVID, is viruses. We talked about viruses and how to test for them. Well, what I thought is, rather than talk about how to test for them, why don't we talk about how we can avoid them in the first place? Because I mean, testing is part of that process, because by testing you're screening your collection before it comes in off quarantine. So there's one way of avoiding it, is not to inherit it from someone else's collection, which is not easy, because a lot of people don't test for the viruses, and they might think they're clean, they may not be. So I think that's one area. But in my experience, we imported a snake last year that came with a virus in our quarantine, and I learned a lot about how to treat this particular snake, and we went through so many different options with the vet, and obviously it improved slightly, then it wasn't improving, and it took us months and months and months to realise just how to go about treating a snake with a virus. And we found actually the best way, thanks to Kaz as well and James from their experience, because they were nursing one of their beautiful girls with a virus, and I put out a video using the fogger, and that's how I got the fogger, but I ended up using the fogger for humidity, so that was a blessing in disguise. But we used to have a fogger, and we put the snake in a fogger tub, and we used to give it, I think we used special, what was it? It was antiseptic rather than, was it antiseptic? We used a special F10 mix. I think it was mixed in with the water, so the snake was able to breathe in clean water that also had a antiseptic, which is much more softer on them than a disinfectant. You don't want to be using disinfectant F10. You want to use an antiseptic methodology. And there was some slight improvement, and every day we had to clean their rub and make sure that it was spotless, so that the water was changed, the bowl was cleaned, because when a snake does have RI, they cough lots of rubbish all over the rub. It's just not good, and also their hide. So it is to nurse a snake back to health, it is a question of you put a lot of effort and love to try and nurse them back, and it's daily attention and time in the fogger, and then obviously giving them, I think we used injections initially. Jared and I had to do it together because it was quite hard to do, and there's a technique for doing it. But have a look at some of my earlier videos, and we've got a few videos out there to show you. But the vet showed us how to do it, and then we had to do it from home, and it was just difficult to start with, and then it got a bit easy as we got going, but we didn't find it very effective. And then Kaz said, look, we're using oral antibiotics on our snake, do you want to give that a go? And I said, I'll speak to the vet. So the vet gave us some oral antibiotics that we put in using like a without the needle, but you get the syringe without the needle, to the right milliliters per the size of the snake, and you've got to go under the vet's prescription to get it. And we found that was a vast improvement in that particular snake, and every day it was getting better. Jared was also clearing it out with cotton buds. So sometimes when you've got a virus, a bit like us, we get stuffed sinuses, and so a snake will get all this cheesy stuff in its mouth, and you've got to get it out with a cotton bud, because what they die from is not necessarily that, well, the virus can kill them, but it depends on what it is. If it's bacteria, or if it's a bacterial virus, then most snakes can bounce back and recover if their immune system rebuilds and gets stronger and the antibiotics kill them. If you've got the other one, which is the deadly one, which I think is, I forget what it's called now, but it's what's it called? There's another RI which is deadly. There's no cure for it, and you have to make one or two decisions. You try to separate it from your collection and keep it out of your quarantine in a separate area, and you have to make a decision. Do you just try and give it as much life as you can? And they often do not make it, or sometimes if they're suffering and they're in pain and they're not recovering, you've got to then take veterinary advice as to whether you think it's more kind to actually euthanize the snake, which is one of the hardest things that we have to face in the hobby when we love our pets so much. So how can we avoid getting the problem in the first place? I'm going to go through some of my hygiene and husbandry skills that I do every day in the facility, and cleanliness is the key. If you clean your snakes regularly, if you clean your facility regularly, and you keep on top of any bacteria build-up, so the virus often comes from either fungi or bacteria, and I think the key is if you see anything that's growing on their bedding, anything that's on their hide or in their rub, clean it and disinfect and clean, deep cleans. This is one of the reasons why I try to avoid cocoa husk, because I've heard lots of stories where people are suffering because the cocoa husk is getting damp. Warm, damp wood will obviously rot, and it will encourage bacterial growth, and particularly if there's poor airflow in your facility, bacteria will just be rampant because it's airborne as well, and it can pass through the collection very quickly if you're not managing your hygiene correctly. And so I think the majority of problems come because of a lack of hygiene and a lack of cleaning is the main reason that these viruses come. So I think the other thing to remember is clean air is important, and getting a circulation of air is important, and keeping an eye on your facility. And if you're seeing any areas that, like today for example, I cleaned all the window sills, windows, they tend to attract bacteria growth, and particularly now I've got ambient humidity where I'm pumping a lot of water vapor into the air. I've noticed since I've been using the fogger, I've got to be on that. So if you're going to go humidity in the facility like I am, you've got to be completely on cleaning your facility as well as the rubs. But what you're saving in having not to spray down 160 animals, because I don't spray anymore, I can invest in cleaning the facility, which is far less onerous. I mean, honestly, it's just a question of spotting areas and corners that you can see that could be potentially a problem. Let's clean it, let's disinfect it, let's get rid of. So I think that's one way of getting on top of viruses. Obviously, how we handle and how we clean our snakes so we don't have cross-contamination is key. Using gloves, washing our hands as we're touching different animals, making sure that if one of those animals does have a virus, you're not passing it on to the other. Checking before you breed, opening up the mouths of your snakes to make sure there's no RI, because RI doesn't have to show itself visually, it can be inside without you realising it, and they're locking and breeding, and it can spread to your collection very quickly that way. So there's another areas to check the health of your snakes before you breed is a really good point. But the other thing is having all your humidity, temps, airflow, having everything on point. The closer we get to what they really need, I believe the less stress they experience, and the less stress they experience, their immune system's stronger, and therefore if any bacteria gets into them or into their rub, they're stronger to fight it. Whereas if you are not getting your husbandry right and the stress levels are high, their immune system's low and they're much more vulnerable. The other thing is the moment you see bubbling, or you hear any wheezing, or you see any signs that your animal is sick, do not hesitate to take it to the vet. And the key is a stitching time will save 9. In other words, if you pick up an earlier RI issue early, get it treated with antibiotics early, you'll find that your snake, the antibiotics won't get a grip of your snake, and you'll be on top of it very quickly. And the sooner you can do it, the better. Because if you try just to increase the temps, and that's another thing, is that a lot of vets might say drop your temps, because bacteria grows as optimum at 86 degrees Fahrenheit. So one of the strategies is also to drop your temperatures down to 82, 83, get below the optimum, and actually contain the virus that's growing within the snake while it's receiving its antibiotics. So this is another area that we can look at. There's two other areas which I think are overlooked by quite a few, particularly new hobbyists coming in. And I think I'm learning how to get my feeding right, and I'm learning how to get my water quality right. And those two areas is how we feed and what water we give our snakes. Kaz changes her water bowls every day, and I do. Today I spent a lot of time cleaning and changing water and giving our snakes fresh water on a daily basis. Now if you do that, the bacteria that can be water bound doesn't get a chance, because you're on top of the water bowls. They're clean, the water's clean, and I use a F10 to clean the bowls deeply, scrub them, make sure they're all clean, and then I top them up and put them back into the rubs for our snakes, so they're getting fresh, clean water every day. Remember, they bathe in it, they can poo in it, they can wee in it, and if they're drinking all that, they're just drinking all their bacteria. So I cannot underestimate how important it is. Probably one of the number one important things, two things that are most important, I believe, where bacteria gets into our snakes, is water quality, and the second one is that when we're defrosting our food for them, the rats and the mice, we leave the rats and mice to defrost for too long. I mean, obviously they need to be defrosted. You don't want to be giving your snake a semi-frozen prey item, because that isn't going to do them any good. But remember, bacteria grows in the prey as well. So if you've just taken your food out of the freezer and you leave them to defrost, and a lot of people do this, and I think I was guilty of doing this in the early stages, of letting them defrost for a good part of the day, you know, and then coming back and feeding them. You might think, oh, these rats are just lovely, easy to feed, and you know what happens? The bacteria is growing inside that rat, and you're feeding it to your snake, and you don't even realize that you're actually not only feeding them a rat or a mouse, but you're actually feeding them bacteria. And the other thing is to source your supplier and get a reliable rat breeder that is giving. Go and visit their facility, see how clean and hygienic they are. Get reassurance that they're giving you clean animals in the first place, because there could be some hidden dangers there. So these are all things that new people coming in may not realise, and that's why I put this video out, just to help you. I know it's a little bit depressing and I don't really want to talk any, but it is real. And during Christmas we're all going to be fine-tuning our system, spending time with our snakes. Apollo's just being an absolute darling. He just loves being with me. I just love him so much. Which leads me now nicely, if there's any questions on virus control, virus avoidance, virus preventative medicine, or virus medication and things like that, obviously speak to a vet. Have a look at my earlier videos on RI, that will help give you some guidance. By all means, drop me a comment if you're struggling with a snake that's suffering with a virus during this Christmas period. And bearing in mind, a lot of the population, 100,000 people in the UK yesterday tested positive for COVID-19. So this virus is a very topical discussion point. Of course, all these things I'm teaching here is also could be applied to us as well, because remember, in my channel I always try to liken our hobby to ourselves, meaning there's a lesson that our maintenance and keeping of our snakes can teach us about our own well-being as well. Eating right, drinking right, keeping clean in our homes, cleaning regularly, dusting, airflow, a good diet, exercise, of course enrichment, de-stresses as well. That's why I'm building this play area. All these things will all contribute, and the more you can de-stress your snakes, the more protection they have. Right, we've only got a few minutes to show you a few snakes. I've got to give you an update on my two girls that gave me two beautiful clutches, because one of them hasn't eaten since she gave us the clutch, which is Jade. Today when I was cleaning her, I think, because I'm just in the process of preparing some food for the hatchlings, I think she may have sniffed the rat in the facility, and she was coming out showing an interest, and I thought, well, that was really good, because she's not done that for months. So I do think that she's past the worst of her, what would you call it? I mean, I called it antenatal depression, because she gave us a lovely clutch and she's got off food since then. But I think she's actually at the point now where she's really wanting to eat. Now, I'm hoping I'll be able to give her a meal today, and I'll let you know how it goes tomorrow, see if she's taken, but I will show you how she's doing. I'll just put this little fella back now, Apollo, who's such a beautiful snake, isn't he lovely? So Super Pastel, Orange Dream, Banana Boy, who's got to be probably the most friendliest snake at New Forest Morph here. He's got to be the friendliest. So let's just slip him back, and then we'll just have a little look at some snake candy to wrap up the video. Apollo, thank you so much for coming over. We'll just slip you back. So let's start with the two girls, and what I'll do, just flip the camera over. There we go. Now, the one I cleaned out today was Jupiter. She gave us the beautiful clown clutch this year. She's a stunning example of a butter. By the way, it's raining heavily here in the forest. This would be a good week to breed, but I'm going to wait for Jared to get healthy first and then we'll do that together. Now, she's going into shed actually. But just look how she's doing since, you know, I was worried about her, and she has now she's eating regularly and she's eating quite nicely, but she's actually going into the beginning of her shed. And she's a gorgeous example of a butter. And look at the chunkiness that she's getting back now. When I contrast her with Jade that's yet to eat, you'll see the difference, and she's getting back to health. We're going to rest her this year, not going to breed with her till next year once she's really strong, and that's a really good move, I feel, not to rush any of our girls back into breeding again, because that's a recipe for disaster and can be counterproductive. So that's Jupiter. We'll put her back, and then above, well, I'll go to Jade next, I think. We'll go through all the ones with yellow tags. So let's just put the yellow tags over there. So let's have a look and see how. Here she is. Now you'll see she might come out and try and nail some food. Look, there she is. Do you see her? Hello, darling. Now that she hasn't done that for months. Look, she wants to come out and explore. Isn't that just lovely? And I'm just going to gently allow her to see. She's in a strike position. She wants to eat. She's smelling. You can see I've got some rats on defrost over there. She's smelling rats. I'm being quite careful here because I know I could get tagged. They might just think I'm the rat. Also, I'll show you Daisy. So Daisy is my leopard albino girl that is so beautiful. Just look at that for some candy. If you want some Christmas candy, you've got it right here. I'll just show her how lovely she is. Beautiful girl. And she gave us one baby last year, which I'm going to show you her baby, which was Bruce. Now Bruce is I think an albino 100% het for hide. But before I get to him, let me show you a couple of other nice candy snakes. Now her name here, let me just get her right. She's building nicely. She has been a picky feeder, but just look at that for some candy. Have a guess and what you think's in her. I'll give you a chance to guess. Her name is Terry, so she's very Christmassy. We're talking about candy. So with Terry, you've got in there a beautiful Orange Dream, Het Russo, 100% het for pied. So the Russo and the Orange Dream have got a lovely combination. Aren't they lovely? Beautiful. So we'll put her back, and then the other one that's shed out. And by the way, I've had lots of nice sheds today. I did have a couple of girls that have left a little bit of shed on them. I'm going to have to give them a bath, I think, because what I'm finding is 61% is good for everything other than the really big snakes. They need more. So I'm going to have to try and up my humidity a bit more. But over here we've got Korma, who's a pastel banana. And how about her for a bit of candy? Be like the banana pastel gene. And she's a female maker, I believe. Is she a female maker? I'm trying to think. She'll produce. No, hang on a minute. I think she might be a female maker. I can't remember now whether she's a female maker or not. But anyway, getting hold of a banana girl is quite hard. I managed to get hold of one. She's getting big enough to breed. I'm not going to breed yet. I'm going to get her a bit more weight before we go. But she's absolutely gorgeous. Lovely girl. She used to be a little bit fiery, but she's gently eased up a little bit. And we'll just put her back. So there's two of the girls down here I wanted to show you. Now let's go and show you that baby I was saying. That's Daisy's baby. Now, if we go over here. Actually, while we're down this facility, let me show you what else is patched, shed out. My bamboo girl, who's 100% het for ultra male, just shut out today. Now look at that for a beautiful looking animal. Don't you just love the bamboo? So she's one of our first ever hatchlings. She's 2 years old. She's about 1100, and she is one of two sisters. I've got two of these, and I was really blessed with the odds on this clutch. And I'll show you my sister as well. Just desk down here. And that will be, her name is Zag. Zig and Zag, these are called. So Zig is under here. There's Zig. So there you go. There's the two bamboo 100% het ultra male girls. And their mother is the panda girl, who's a big girl. She's given us a lovely clutch in her first year. This one here shut out, which is a pastel G-stripe visual girl. She's been a picky feeder, so she's quite I got her at the same time as Giovanni, because they're supposed to be husband and wife. She's taken a lot longer to get feeding, but she just shut out today. I'm just going to show you what she looks like. She's really pretty. So we'll just put that back for her. She likes cool temperatures, that's why I put her at the bottom here. She seems to be doing better with slightly cooler temperatures. I am finding just dropping the temperatures a couple of degrees is doing the world good. I think we make a problem. Sometimes I think we cause a bit of a problem by actually going too high on the temps. In other words, 90 can be quite high. I think maybe 88 might be an optimum temp, and maybe trying to get them between 82 and 84 is good. So, what other snakes have we got? We've got a little bit of time left. Let's have a little look. What have we got in here now? I can't remember now. That was... Oh no, that was my girl from yesterday. I didn't take her tag off, but she's in shed. Orange Dream Girl. That's how beautiful she is, and that's in shed. But I will show you her when she's out of shed. Hazel. I'll come back to her another day. What else? I was going to show you two other females over here and a couple of hatchlings, just to wrap up on the... Oh, there we go. This is one of our babies we hatched out 2 years ago. Perfect shed. And this is, again, we're not 100% certain what this is. It's definitely, obviously, a pied, but this is Iffy, female. She's about 1200, and we think she's a cinnamon pied, possibly a yellow belly cinnamon pied, but we're not sure until we breed with her. We're not going to know for sure, but really weird because it might be just a straightforward pied girl, but we're hoping there's cinnamon and yellow belly in her, but we're not 100% certain. So I think the only thing to do is to prove her out by breeding with her. So that's that one. And then the other one I was going to show you is no, Cosmos I did yesterday, so that's okay. So the ones I'm going to show you now are the babies. So let's have a look and see Ember, who is our female Enchi Fire 100% het for Desert Ghost. Let's see how she's doing. There she is. Well, she's going into shed, but she's got really big, so I don't think we'll show her her best. Let's put her back. And I think the ones I'll show you is the baby that we've got here, which is... Now this one here is the only boy we got from Apollo. He was actually a pastel banana. It could be Orange Dream, we're not sure. But it's either a pastel banana or a super pastel banana. Possible Orange Dream, possible pied. 50% het for pied. I hope it proves out. Just got time for a couple more. There's 3 more I want to show you here. So here we've got the baby of Daisy I was talking about, who's actually a beautiful albino. And you can see he was born in a boob egg, and he's doing really well, really chunky. So he's looking really nice. So some more candy for you. Slip him back, don't disturb him too much. And then the other 2, of course, you've seen, which are also beautiful, candy looking. And here we've got a banana. You know we love our bananas. Banana spider 100% het clown boy. He's eating like a trooper. He'll be stepping up to small multi. And this is his slightly bigger brother. There you go. So I hope you enjoy the snake candy today. We'll be back tomorrow, which is leading up towards Christmas. I want to wish everyone all the very best for Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to go and give Ben some love on his channel, BG Pythons, and we will catch you tomorrow. Take good care, and bye bye for now.